to do you understand what I mean? Like this video, the point I was trying to make was that if you go, you can fly, and then Abhijit only cut that part that you can fly, just like birds fly, and then everybody started responding like, no, it's not possible to fly because you will fall off the mountain. Of course you'll fall off the mountain, because the second part of the video was you can fly in an aeroplane, right? Not just yourself. Hey guys, how are you? Everybody here. All right, everybody who's here watching this live, I want to welcome every single buddy, everybody. I want to welcome Asif, Bashir, Wajahat, everybody who's waving at me, waving back at you. Thank you very much. Shuaib, Ali, Mavish, Mallu, Dubai Realtor. That's a good name. Shakil, Vimal, Fahim Shah, Adil, Yusufzai, everybody on YouTube, welcome. Guys, listen, if you've got questions, please ask, and I'll be happy to answer. If you don't have questions, don't ask, but stick around for me to give you a little bit of a breakdown. Guys, listen, sometimes we need to get reminded how to break through the negativity, and I want to talk first about that because I feel a lot of people over here are agents and some investors as well. Hey, it's Gas. Okay. Hi, how are you? Interesting name. Hey, it's Gas. Pushazi. Okay. So I want to talk about the negativity because I get reminded about this, and I've got to say this to you guys. Like, guys, some of the senior brokers who've been around since 2008, like I was talking to somebody, I was meeting somebody, and you can check out my stories from yesterday. And this gentleman who I was meeting, he was part of the movers and the shakers back from 2005, 6, 7, 8. Like pre 2008, when the market was so hot, like you can't, like if you think that the market's hot right now, that things are selling fast today, you've got no idea how hot the market was prior to that. Like seriously, like if you think that things get sold in a couple of hours or a couple of days now, things used to at that time get sold pre-launch, never even got launched, and it was actually more of a it was more of a difficult situation back then. It wasn't even so easy as it was as it is right now. Okay, things were not regulated, things were not organized, things were not as easy as they are now. Okay, so if you think now is really really hot and high and heavy, then it was even before super. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've got some coffee coming to me. Yes. All right. So things were even more difficult back then, right? So, and a lot of people actually at that time went through a roller coaster ride as the market crashed in 2008. I personally had 2 investments with one of my senior mentors in the Dubai market. I'm not going to say like we knew what was going to happen. It was much worse than the pandemic. It was much worse than how things were. So how did we pull through that? One of the ways is, now that I look back on, and I remember before the weird pandemic started out, I remember one of my friends was talking to me and he was like, how do you ride this out? And I said, look, you know what? We learned that things just end up being okay. Like there's something you've got to say to yourself, and I say this to myself, and I can share this with you, is everything's going to turn out okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to turn out all right. Okay. And I'm going to talk to a lot of people, and you can take advantage of this as well. Even if you're not Muslim, then I'm going to share this one part that this person was sharing with me. We go about, we run about, we try to earn a living. That's fine, it's fair, it's good. You've got to do that part. But sometimes we might forget that as Muslims, Allah has told us that our risk includes everything: your breath, your how many breaths you're going to have, your food, wives, kids, so on and so forth. Sometimes we end up forgetting that all of that's pre-decreed, right? And God's told us, like, look, that's pre-written for you. Go and do your part, but don't worry about it. Once that sustenance runs out, your breath runs out, you're going back to God, right? Like we all believe in death. Like even if you don't believe in God or if you don't follow Islam, like I think it's very difficult for anybody to not believe in death, right? So kind of like we all know that we're going back to the creator or whatever you believe in, right? So I just want to say, like, when you get stressed, kind of like breathe back, step back, and especially as Muslims, understand that, look, Your sustenance, our sustenance is written, pre-written, and what's coming to us is coming to us. There is nobody who can actually take it away from you. And what's not coming to you ain't coming to you, and there's nothing you can do to make sure that that comes to you. Earlier on, and I know this story, like I want to narrate this story to you guys from 2013, 2014. I was involved in a fairly large transaction, and me being a little bit green behind the ears to handling such transactions in an appropriate way, in meaning like in a way that I could manage. It was quite large, over 20 million dirhams, and there was a lot of moving parts, a lot of partners who had invested, some developers who were involved, some agents who were involved. So a lot of things that were going on. Realtor Ali, good vibe. Thank you very much, brother. So because there was a lot of things that were involved in that, I didn't have all the experience to run that. So one of my mentors who, I'm not going to name him, but, he was also the managing director of the company I was working with. He handled majority of the transaction. And for him, it was pretty like simple. It was pretty much like, he calls because he knows exactly what to do. It's kind of like that story about the mechanic who you brought in to fix the big ship with the big steam engine. And you've got this, all the other mechanics on board have already tried, but nobody's able to fix anything, right? And then you get this mechanic in, he's old, but he's got 50 years of experience. And then he goes in and he goes tap, tap, tap to one part of the steam engine, tap, tap, tap on a few other parts, screws up one or two nuts and bolts, and boom, right? Everything's working perfectly, right? And that guy charges money, but, he didn't have to spend a lot of time. That was kind of like how my mentor and my managing director used to run a transaction. He knew exactly what to do, who to call, who to move. Kind of like he knew where to move the pieces on the chessboard, right? And me being like one of the pawns on the chessboard, thinking that I'm dealing and leading the transaction, which I was not, certainly. Obviously, felt very... very, very deserving and very entitled to a large piece of the pie, to a large piece of the cake. And I didn't get that. And I stayed very angry at that whole situation. I got parts of it. I got compensated. I'm not going to say I wasn't compensated, but I didn't get the full part, right? And I felt very aggravated and angry for a long time, like for almost a year or so. But to be honest with you, when I reflect back in time, as things happen, time goes by, and I'm in a different situation now. When I look back and I realize that, look, it wasn't me. I wasn't leading the transaction. I wasn't managing the chessboard, right? And in this entirety, I got what I got, and I got what I deserved. Why get messy and why get angry about it? And when we go back to that, when we go back to thinking like that, you'll realize that a lot of times when we start realizing like that and we start thinking about it like that, you will calm down. You've heard that song, Calm Down. You will end up calming down. And that's what I want to bring to you guys, especially as agents. Just, chill. Sometimes go with the flow. Don't lose your focus. Work hard. But sometimes it's all about, just going with the flow to be able to get to the next day, to the next day, to the next day. I heard this the other day, and I wish I could play this. Can we play this somehow? Like, it's in Urdu, but I'll say this. I don't know who this gentleman is. I think he is a ASMR. I think this guy's a rapper, okay, or a host, and he's Punjabi, and he says it in whatchamacallit. He says it in his Punjabi, right? And he said, "Lan ch lage raho, wari aani hai." Okay, I'm going to translate that for Urdu and English. And basically he said, stay in line. You've queued up as a realtor, even as an investor. Stay in line and keep going. Your turn's going to come. Have you ever realized this? If you're somewhere, and this has happened, like sometimes you might be in a situation, you might be in a line that you really, really need access to that, whatever you really need access to. And you're thinking, okay, Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum assalam. Millat Ibrahim. Walaikum assalam. Guys, this laptop's gonna die. Just letting my team know because it's on low battery. So it's okay. If it does die, what we're going to end up doing is, guys, if you send me a question on YouTube, if I don't see it, then please send me a question on whatchamacallit. Instagram. Okay, we're fixing, making sure that the laptop stays live, so I'm live on YouTube as well. Okay, so what ends up happening, guys, like if you've ever been in line and you're like going down somewhere, have you ever noticed that some people will quit the line and just move away? Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed that? Some people will be like, okay, we just need to go away. And they do that, right? Okay, let me see if we can. Okay. Yeah, I'm back online. Yeah, all right, cool. And so you'll notice that some people will just be like, okay, it's not happening, not going to stick around, and then they just exit, okay? Ehtizaza Fazal. Assalamu alaikum. Advice for the new realtor. Okay, yeah, sure, no problem, okay. For the new realtor, I'm going to give you one advice, okay? You've got to understand you're not... Okay, so new realtor, there's 3 areas of your life you want to address, okay? We're going to get really, really deep, okay? There's 3 plots that you want to get going, okay? Number 1 is you've got to learn about Dubai real estate. So expertise, knowledge. Without all of that, you're not going to obviously move very fast, okay? Or far. Number 2, you've got to kind of fix your life. And I'm saying this after many, many years. I'm saying this after many, many years, and I realized this. You've got to fix your life, okay? And I will speak on all 3, okay? And the last part is you've got to be... so there's expertise and knowledge about real estate. There's fixing your life. And then there's, I think I always talk about working on your business, okay? Being organized about your business, okay? Look, this is what you've got to do. About expertise and knowledge about real estate, go deep and go in down the rabbit hole. Like, don't stay at the surface level. Like, if somebody says like, hey, can I do this? Your role is to say, let me find out. Don't just tell them like, no, you can't do this, and then move off. Like a lot of realtors, a lot of real estate agents, what they end up doing is they say we can do this, but then they get asked a question and they just say we can't do this. But they will not go the extra step to try to figure out if they can actually do it or not. Like they just stop where their information and knowledge stops. And the reality of the situation is that you've got to go a little bit further below. Like you've got to go... Sorry guys, my battery's not charging. Okay. No. It says battery not charging. Why is that? Are there more? Sorry guys. Okay. Okay, now the power source is back. Okay, guys, listen. Just I don't know. We'll deal with it later. I've got if the computer if the MacBook dies, I've got the Instagram questions are coming on Instagram anyways. If you guys see the questions on YouTube, just post them here. So I'll get on it. Okay, guys. So coming back to this gentleman at his house. Okay, number 1, let's talk about life. Okay, listen. If you've got not great friends. If you're used to staying up late night, if you're used to not getting up early in the morning, real estate is going to be tough for you. A lot of people come into real estate and the problem is they look at people around them and they see like that guy's getting up at 11, that guy's getting up at 12. Like, listen, if somebody's doing 11 a.m. and starting work, this is just my personal thing I'm giving you as advice, okay? If you see somebody's working and starting work at 11 a.m. and they're driving a Rolls Royce, then understand that they've done the hard work and the grind before. Okay, so if you see them driving Rolls Royces today and they start work at 11, understand that they've done it before, or they've got a full team doing work for them, or maybe they're retired and so on and so forth, especially in the real estate business, okay? But if you see regular Joes, it says, let it be. If you see regular Joes, yeah, now it's okay. It's okay. It is what it is. If you see regular Joes getting up at 11 or 10 or 12 and then starting to work at 10 or 11 and 12, and you kind of think that that's what you're supposed to do as well, is not going to be the best situation, okay? It is not going to be the best situation. So fix your life. Read books. Okay, whatever advice I can give you about life, like read books, get to know good people, hang with good people. Don't spend late nights outside. Even if you've closed a big deal, go back to the office the next day, so on and so forth. So fix your life. Number 2, learn about real estate. You've got to get expertise. Number 3, understand that you're in a lead generation business. So your job, your role every day should be to bring 10 people into your network. How do you do that? Say hi to the guy in the elevator. Say hi to the guy at the community event, whether you're going to the mosque, the church, mandir, wherever you're going. Yeah, say hi to the guy, meet them, tell them you're in real estate, tell them what you do. Then say hi to the guys at the conferences, the exhibitions, so on and so on. Every day, your role should be to bring in 10 people into your network. That's how you end up growing, okay? And you'll be okay. Wajahad asks me, hey, sometimes after getting to know each other for a while with the client, I usually ask about the liquidity so that I don't spend much time on them if they don't have. So what's the idea? Okay, Wajahad, so here's the deal. Very, very, when you're saying sometimes after getting to know each other, do you mean that sometimes after getting to know each other, do you mean that, let's say you've spent 10 minutes together with them and then you start asking about liquidity or how much money they have? Or you've spent a few days with them and shown them some properties, right? This is a question that you should be asking in the first meeting. However, I'm going to give you some advice on the first meeting. The first meeting should not be, hi, how are you? How many bedrooms do you want? What's your budget? Shouldn't go like this, okay? I think we've got a template on some. I think we've got a template that you can use or download from our web page. This is how to run a consultation if they are investing in a property or buying a home. Essentially speaking, me and the way we train our advisors, we spend about an hour and a half together with the client. Look, whether we agree to it or not, a client that's about to buy a property is most likely it's his largest purchase they're making, right? The other largest purchase they probably made in their life was a car or a small boat. Definitely not an airplane. Most people haven't bought an airplane, but their property is going to be one of their largest purchase, most likely one of their largest purchase. And it's very indicative if they're not giving you an hour of their time or half an hour of their time. It's very indicative of how serious they are about the process of actually purchasing a good property. A lot of them are scared. A lot of buyers are scared. A lot of them have been harassed too much. A lot of them, nobody is willing to listen to them. So if you sit down and ask them all these questions and understand what their dream house or dream investment is, then you can ask them what their liquidity is like. And when you get to the liquidity in that same sitting, same meeting, you should be asking them, okay, how much are you going to be allocating to this purchase? And they'll tell you like, look, I'm looking at $1 million dirhams or $1 million. Then you've got to dig a little bit deeper and further. And you've got to ask them like, okay, is that $1 million accessible to you today? Do you have access to it? Is it in stocks or shares or in another property in another country? You're trying to help them by asking this. Why? Because if it's not accessible to them today, then that obviously means that they will not be able to bring that money to you instantly, okay? You've got to ask them. And then ask them, okay, if they've got $1 million and they want a property worth $5 million, then, ask them like how much money can they actually deploy per year post that. Like let's say they can put down $1 million and then ask them how much money they can actually put after that, okay? Ehtizaz, Afzal, love it. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Ehtizaz. Okay, shucks, I lost the questions. Sorry guys, I did something with the live and I've lost the questions. I see one question asked me about investments, how to add more apartments fast. That's okay, don't worry. Please ask me again so I can answer that question. I think I clicked some kind of advertisement or something. If you do this, it wipes the questions out. Okay, never mind. Let me answer this question with respect to. Let me finish. Etizaz, yes. I want to answer Etizaz's question because he said, love the advice. Good. I've got to say something to you. It's okay. It's okay. The person will. I remember the question, and if they're still there, they'll ask me again. Guys, listen. If I've not answered your question, just ask me again, please. I'll be happy to answer if I've missed it. Etizaz, one of the things that I'm gonna now tell you. Like, listen. This is what I'm realizing myself now as well. There's something about realizing something or understanding something in theory, and then there's something about building muscle memory around it. Okay, so in theory it's so easy and it sounds great that go and meet 10 people a day or add 10 people to your network a day, because then that's 3,600 people a year. Okay, and out of 3,600 people a year, guys, it's so easy that somebody from those people are going to be buying. Like, if you stay in touch with them over the next 8 weeks and then few months and then the full year, keep touching them in some smart way, some of them are going to end up buying properties from you. Like, it sounds really simple, right? The problem is not the problem, but the reality for a lot of people is, even though it's very simple for them to understand this concept, they don't have the muscle memory to actually go out and do this again. Even I don't do this again every day. Like, I've been taught this since 2016. I used to be working with a company called Keller Williams at that time. And Keller Williams was a training company that happened to be in real estate. And that's what they claimed themselves to be. And I think of the many 50 plus agents that came and went there, I used to be one of those people who would actually try to focus on building. It used to be really helpful. I used to be one of those people who was really putting my time into develop and get the network going. But even I didn't do it every day. But I know if I did it every day, ooh la la, my business would fly. Wajahad Realtor says, I read complete book, The Ultimate Guide to Dubai, and it was really helpful for me to understand Dubai and its market. I'm very happy. Thank you very much for reading it. And yeah, like, let's put your comment down on the testimonials. Like, guys, maybe just screenshot it and then put it. Maybe we can screenshot it and put it in there so other people can also read it. Okay, I screenshotted it here. Okay. I've got another question. Any advice for leveraging in the buy to let markets? Which formula works best for expanding rapidly? Buy to let apartments. Which formula works best for expanding rapidly? Okay, obviously I can only give you my advice based on what you're saying at the moment. But if you're really looking at buying to let, obviously, for me to be able to guide you, what I would do is go a little bit deeper into understanding your vision, your dream, your money that you have, how you're looking to allocate that. We call it the strategy development session, right? But if you're saying, hey, any advice for leveraging in the buy to let apartments, which formula works best for expanding? Like, if you're thinking about acquiring apartments, then I can give you some free, really normal advice. And if you're looking at apartment acquisition in a certain area, what I would suggest is you look at different communities and then highlight or what do we call, like, qualify or bring the communities that you're going to focus in to one or two, because those communities work for X, Y, and Z reasons. The prices are lower, the acquisitions prices are easier, and so on and so forth. And then have somebody look for bulk transactions for you. Like, instead of going in and then having to negotiate on every single apartment one by one, sometimes you might be able to negotiate on a bulk transaction which somebody's trying to sell from the other side. And not only can you pick up a good deal, but you can actually save a lot of time instead of trying to acquire one by one, right? That's just one way. Let me please explain if I've understood your question correctly so I can actually re-answer. This is for Wadi Farha, okay? Khadija Realtor, hi, how are you? Guys, if you guys have any other questions, please push them through. I'm happy to answer. Other than that, I'm going to actually quickly just answer any questions that I've had online. So some people have asked me, can you share the names of the agencies that do subletting? So I think you're actually asking me about agencies that do that run not tourism, like short-term rentals. That's what subletting over here actually refers to, I believe. So good companies that I know, Frank Porter does it. Yeah, Frank Porter. There's a company called PrimeStay. I don't know about them. I don't have any clients that are doing it through them, but PrimeStay does it. Frank Porter does it, and Deluxe Home does it. I think ideally what you would do is call representatives of all these people and then speak to all of them and then look at how each of them is able to service you and so on and so forth. Okay. Vadi Farha asks, financially, what should I be aware of in terms of interest and monthly payments? Like, obviously, it's no secret right now that interest rates are really high. But I think what's happened recently is there's been three. There's a banker I've spoken to. He told me, one of my friends, that the Feds announced that there's going to be three interest rates slashes this year. Okay, so there's going to be three. I don't know if that's the truth. I don't know if that's going to happen. But obviously, when you're looking at interest payments, profit payments, like obviously over here locally, you've got Islamic banks as well, which I always recommend to my clients. They don't deal with interest. They deal with profit rates. You can always speak to them, these banks, and understand their terms and so on and so forth, right? So we already know that the fixed rates and the variable rates are obviously very high right now. So you should be aware of that. Monthly payments, look, Wadi, you've got to understand one thing right now, and this is the video that I'd made. A lot of people only saw the first half because my team only put the first half. It's okay. Right now, EMI is challenging to be covered by the rent that's coming in. Why? Because prices are higher. Okay, so you've got to really squeeze a deal out of an apartment and really buy at a low price to be able to have the EMIs being covered by the rent. So if you do that, you're going to be okay. So Wajahad asks, sometimes people step back from the deal at the last moment because of certain reasons, even though they were convinced. Sometimes people step back from the deal at the last moment because of certain reasons, even though they were convinced. So should we come with the other project with lower budget immediately? Okay, so let me answer Wajahat quickly. Okay, first of all, you've got to understand something. Okay, Wajahat, when you're working as a realtor, your role should be to, and you will get this as you gain more experience, you will start being able to read people and why and how they do certain things. Okay, when people are about ready to pull the transaction, that means that they're fully convinced emotionally, they're fully capable financially, so on and so forth. Okay, and it's very rare that they're going to pull back or pull out at the last minute. It's rare when they're fully convinced. Okay, but when you say, hey, they're pulling back because of whatever XYZ reason, trust me that there is a reason. The only thing is you've not been able to discover that reason before. So if you were working in a consultative approach and you were friends with them in terms of professionally, okay, not friends like discussing fishing trips and vacations and so on, but professionally, if they trusted you as their advisor and they told you a lot of things about what's happening in their life, then you'll know what's going on and why they would pull back. There are certain people emotionally, I've dealt with some clients like this, who will always commit, even pay, and then pull back or pull out. You can't do anything except like double convince them again and double down. And sometimes they are looking for a real estate advisor to reconvince them. Just do your job and try to convince them logically. Do not try to pressure, but logically try to convince them. And if it happens, it happens. So should we come up with the other project with lower budget immediately? Yeah, sure, no problem. Give them something lower. Maybe they'll look at the price of the lower project, but not like the quality. And they will tell you like, look, let's go back to the first project. Or take a gap for a few days and then come back with the other offer. Or take a gap for a few days and then come back with the other offer. Yeah, both work. Like give them a gap if you feel like they need to breathe. Come back with another offer same day. Like let them know that you're there to help them. And if they feel like too pressured, like obviously I imagine that. So this is what I'm looking at. Look, okay, the way you're phrasing your questions, the way you are writing your English, I can see that you're an educated person with some kind of emotional intelligence. which means that you can read the other buyer in a very nice way, which means that if you feel they're feeling pressured, if they're feeling very low confidence, if they feel that they're getting too much pressure from all sides, then you will give them the space to breathe. If they need to, get in touch with you immediately, they will be. Don't be that guy. Don't be that agent who's like, constantly barraging them. Okay. So if you feel they need space to breathe, let them breathe. No problem, right? Okay. Everybody else who's here, welcome. Wadi, which is the most promising area for you if you were to buy apartments to let? See, it's a very, very interesting part. Like when you say promising area, for me, I was buying apartments to let. See, it depends. What kind of a portfolio do you want to hold at the end of the day? Because I don't know if you know this, but JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle, has been performing, when it talks about rental income, the best. Okay, the best in terms of rental income. But the area on its own has some issues, right? The developer, I've known the developer since ages. They do their best to do the best. For some reason, things don't come out the best. Okay, with all their developments, you can go to all their developments, and they're a master developer. You can go to all the developments, and you feel okay. Yeah, they're doing the good things, but like when I go to downtown, and Emaar, the way Emaar, in conjunction with the Dubai government, handles 2 million or 3 million people on New Year's Eve is like plausible. Like, this is something like amazing. Like for that one full night, they managed 2 million, 1 million. I don't know how many people come over here, but the way they manage Dubai Mall on Eids, you could still get into Dubai Mall, is plausible. The way they've managed the complete development of downtown Dubai, and then the way they're managing Creek Harbor, right? So if you're looking at undervalued apartments, I would say Creek Harbor. If you're looking at just what do you call this? Just let rentals, JVC. The thing is, JVC is not, in my opinion, is not going to develop into like super duper amazing community in the next 1-2 years. So you end up holding a portfolio that's, in the community's struggling. You get good rental income out, but then you've got to build a strategy that says, okay, I'm going to hold these apartments for 3 years, get good rent out, decent 7% rent, 7.5%, 8% in some cases. And then I'm just going to sell them. I'm not going to care about, and then if you're not getting capital appreciation, then you can't blame me because you went into a community that didn't add value, right? Overall, okay? So you've got to look a little bit of holistic, and then we've got to look, when we're helping and advising you, that we've got to look at your outlook, okay? Some people don't want to hold in JVC, right? Some people don't mind. All right, guys, there's no more questions coming through right now. I got comments on a video where I talked about EMI and how you could rent an apartment and then make money back into your pocket. The second part of the video says that right now you can't do that because it's challenging. You've got to buy at a really, really low price. Otherwise, you can't do it. Soul Game 231. Okay, welcome. Somebody asks me, what about interest, which is haram? Okay, interest is haram. This is Khalil Sharif. Don't get involved in it. Don't buy on interest-based products, and don't take financing. Go for Islamic banks, so on and so forth. All right, guys, listen, if there's no more questions, I don't see any more questions coming through right now. Can I say goodbye to you? See you later. Sayonara. Thank you, everybody who joined, and thank you, Jazakallah Khair, for the questions as you guys sent. Guys, just to let you know, if you can't make it to Wadi Farah, so how to get a detailed consultation, we can actually send you on Instagram the links. You can buy a strategy session, or you can sign up to our complete VIP service package where we just don't do the strategy session. We will then, inclusive of the strategy session, help you also find properties, close the transactions, we'll take handovers of the properties, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things. And I'm going to actually ask the team to actually send you the details. On WhatsApp, there is a number you can contact, okay? I will send you that number. It's 052 208 5147, 052 208 5417, and I look forward to talking to you guys. All right, guys, see you later. Take care. Goodbye. Talk to you very soon. Bye for now.